Hey friends, Noki Evans here, author of Spice It Up. It's time to revive your intimacy. Yes, it's important that I mention the title of my book today. In a few minutes, you're going to understand why, especially the subtitle. Make sure that you pay attention to the subtitle of my book. It's time to revive your intimacy. Before I continue talking about the importance of intimacy in marriage, can you please do me a favor? Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to click that little bell so that YouTube notifies you every time a video goes up. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. So on today's video, I'm going to be talking about intimacy in marriage. A lot of people have been asking about intimacy in marriage. At times, people don't know the difference between intimacy, just intimacy, and sexual intimacy. And most of the times on this channel, I talk about the sexual intimacy. But you as a woman or as a wife should know that you cannot have sexual intimacy, healthy sexual intimacy without intimacy. Okay, let's backtrack and start from the beginning. What is intimacy? Intimacy, as Dictionary Google defines it, it's a deep friendship, it's a familiarity, so it's knowing somebody at a deeper level. It's not just a surface level knowing of a person. If you have an intimate relationship with somebody, that means you have a deeper connection. You have a deeper relationship with that person. As Christians, we talk about intimacy with God. Yes, I think when I talk about intimacy with God, I give the example of Moses having intimacy with God. Moses was, I don't mean to preach, but Moses was after knowing God. He was after seeking the face of God and knowing God at a deeper level, which is what you and I should strive to do as far as our spirituality or as far as knowing God. That same intimacy that is used in the Bible is identical to the intimacy that a husband and wife have. A deeper intimate relationship. That means they have to know each other. As I was thinking about this topic about intimacy in marriage, there are actually a lot of factors that contribute to a relationship between husband and wife, a relationship between a man and a woman. When a man decides to propose marriage to a woman, that means they've been on a journey of knowing each other. I know at times there are these quick marriages, some of them work, some of them don't. My point is, when a man decides to propose marriage to a woman, it means that he wants to deepen their relationship. A relationship between husband and wife is deeper than a relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. So when people are courting, some people court, some people date. I'm talking about a man and a woman who have tied the knot, who have committed to each other, who have gotten into a marriage covenant. This is the marriage intimacy that I'm talking about. An intimate relationship in marriage has to grow. That is just the basic stuff. You realize that when you get married, say you got married, let me just pick a number. Say you got married 10 years ago. When you got married 10 years ago, you'll realize that year number 1 was different from year number 3, was different from year number 7, was different from year number 10, and we don't buy into the world saying that most marriages face challenges at year number 7. That shall not be your portion, my sister, and we don't believe in that, okay? When you got married to your husband, you and your husband should work towards, and what God expects is for your relationship to grow, and it is in that growth that intimacy deepens. So intimacy is not just about sex. Intimacy is about friendship. It's about getting to know your spouse, which is why at times you find yourselves finishing off each other's sentences, which can be good or bad depending on the circumstance of the conversation. And then have you heard people saying, oh, this couple, they look alike, they're like brother and sister? God has a sense of humor. At times, the longer people are married, the more they look alike. It's funny, right? Even physically, I've seen a number of couples who really have a lot of similarities, even in their physical appearance. Is it because God is transforming them during this journey of intimacy as they get closer together? Because intimacy is about getting closer together. It's about getting closer to your spouse. So if you hear people saying, I'm no longer close to my husband, that means intimacy is slacking and lacking somewhere. One or both spouses in the marriage have probably drop the ball somewhere along the line. What should actually happen according to God's design for marriage? Once you get married to your husband, my sister, the whole purpose of you marrying each other is so that you can come closer together. The deeper your intimacy, the deeper your emotional connection, and the deeper your sexual intimacy, which is why you end up bringing children on this earth, because you've gotten so close together. You've decided to bond so much that you start growing a family. Intimacy involves being honest with each other. Remember, this person that you've married, as far as the definition of intimacy is concerned, has to become or has to be your best friend, which is why when the wedding ministers or when the pastors are officiating a wedding or they're getting people married, they talk about forsaking all other. When you get married to your spouse, you promise that you are going to forsake all the Jack and Jills that were in your life, that were speaking into your life and that you were spending time with. If you're a party animal, you're partying with them. The whole idea of intimacy in a marriage is to keep deepening your connection, deepening your relationship, getting stronger and stronger together. And somebody might say, oh, but I'm married, but I'm no longer close to my husband. Then you have to go back to the drawing board. You to require that you have a conversation with your spouse. I always talk about communication on this channel. You'll need to have a conversation with him, because if you just let it be and just say, oh, it's just another thing, we are no longer close, that distance between you two will end up becoming a very, very thick brick wall, a formidable wall that you will not be able to bring down. So the sooner you tackle, or the sooner you get to the bottom of why you are growing apart, the sooner you course correct, the better for your intimacy in your marriage. You don't want to normalize the lack of intimacy in your marriage. You want to make sure that instead of repelling, you are actually attracted to one another. You are actually getting together, stronger together, that nothing can shake you. No matter what the challenges you face, the stronger your intimate connection is. I almost say your internet connection, Lord help me. Okay. The stronger your intimate relationship, the stronger your marriage altogether. The stronger you are intimately as a couple, the stronger your sexual intimacy will become. Okay, so let's get back to what I was going to tell you about the title of my book, Spice It Up. So Spice It Up is the main title, and then the subtitle is It's Time to Revive Your Intimacy. Yes, there is need for marriages in the whole wide world to revive intimacy. The enemy is after attacking intimacy in marriages, and when you normalize the lack of intimacy, of getting together and getting closer, deepening your relationship with your spouse, there is a problem there. Like I've already said, the devil does not want anything to do with marriages, because remember, a marriage between a man and a woman represents Jesus Christ and the church, the bride and the groom. That is exactly what it represents, which is why we believe in the biblical definition of marriage. You have to work hard, my sister, to make sure that you fight for your marriage to be closer and closer to your spouse. Don't normalize growing apart, because when you grow apart, there is a high chance that you'll never be able to recover if you maintain the status quo. Okay, now reviving your intimacy will take intentionality. Reviving your intimacy will take some work. Reviving your intimacy will take some communication and going to the root of what is the cause, or what was the cause of you repelling each other instead of attracting each other. And normally, if you hear spouses who talk about not being close, intimate, or friendly with each other, or familiar with each other, I'm very cautious about choosing the word familiar. I'll tell you why in a minute. If you ignore the importance of maintaining or growing intimacy in your marriage, you are allowing the devil to have a foothold into your marriage. So it's about time you revive that intimacy. Some marriages definitely need a revival, which is what the subtitle of my book is. It's time to revive your intimacy, which is why I actually give you 189 pages of tips on how to blow up your sexual intimacy. Okay, you cannot jump to the sexual intimacy before you take care of the foundation, which is the regular intimacy, the spending time together, the connecting with one another. Especially with women, we love to connect. We are emotional human beings, because for us, anything that we do in a relationship, especially in marriage, it has to have an emotional connection to it. So if there is no emotional connection, you'll find that that's when those 9 o'clock headaches come in, because the spouse or the wife, yes, my sister, you know yourself, those, oh, I have a headache tonight, I cannot be sexually intimate with you. That's when they come in, because you've allowed the devil a foothold to get into your intimacy in marriage. Okay, I hope this video really helps. Am I doing good? If I am, please give this video a thumbs up so that other people who may be looking for this type of content will find it. Okay, and I'm thinking sexual intimacy without intimacy, general basic intimacy or friendship in the marriage, it's just like somebody's using somebody for sex in that marriage, and you do not want that. You want both you and your husband to feel connected and enjoy the sexual intimacy, because you've put in the work to do the basic nurturing of your relationship, which is what is going to grow the overall intimacy in your relationship. Okay, my friend, now I did promise a whole video about how my book Spice It Up, It's Time to Revive Your Intimacy, how it came about. One of the very first indications that I needed to write a book, but at that time my mind was not open to writing a book about sex. I never thought that I was gonna write a book about sex. If you ask me, I thought, as much as I knew that I was going to write, I thought I was gonna write an autobiography about this girl who came from Africa to America, first generation, and started her life, and life was lifing, and one thing led to the next. But guess what? I got to a point where I could not run away from this call, because for me, Spice Up Your Intimacy, the name of this channel where you're watching this video from, is a calling. It was not by design. I never ever thought that I'll be talking about sex to the whole wide world. Okay, so anyway, I'll share this part of how my book came about just a little bit, because I believe it to give you guys context of what I'm talking about as far as intimacy. So there was this young lady. This is back in the day when Facebook was Facebook, and there were no funny things going on Facebook. The groups used to be grouping. I tell you, we used to get together. We used to have these ladies groups where we'll share advice and we'll give each other advice, and people just share knowledge. So this one group where I used to be, I started seeing a lot of same problems coming up about these young wives having sexual intimacy issues. So what I'll do is I'll tell the ladies to inbox me for whatever reason. I'll share in privately what I knew they needed in their marriage. So I'll share with each and every lady who came to my inbox on Facebook. I'll say, go and do ABC and come back to me after a couple of days and give me feedback. Tell me the results of my advice, if it worked or if it did not. I tell you, 100% of the ladies who came back to me, which is everybody, because I'll follow up. If I didn't hear from them after a number of days, I'll definitely follow up and say, hey, I'm still waiting. What's going on? Did the tips work? How is it in your marriage? and every single one of them said hands down it worked. But there was this one that I'll never forget. I'll never forget this young lady. She came back to me ecstatic. She was so very happy. She could not believe it. So she was narrating to me what had happened. She put into practice some of the things that I state in my book. And this was the knowledge or the advice that I was sharing with these young ladies. So she comes back to me. She was so excited. She was so happy. It was incredible. I couldn't even believe it. But at that time, I didn't even have a business mind. I was just living my life and just letting things be. And I didn't even think that I needed to write a book, even though one of the ladies came to me and said, you have to write a book. But I had all kinds of excuses, one excuse after another. Anyway, back to that young lady. She said to me, I remember very well that she said, do you know that my husband never used to come home before 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Her husband always came home late. The kids are going to bed. At the time she's in bed as well. He would have left home in the morning, going to work. He will come back when everybody's fast asleep. After the young lady did exactly what I told her to do in her bedroom, do you know that that man was getting off work and coming straight home? You guys, I'm not even kidding you. The husband will come straight home. To do what? To enjoy his wife, because he could not believe the radical change of their sex in the bedroom, their intimacy. It went from being non-existent to a level 10. To an extent, this young wife was telling me, she's a veteran now, she's been married for more than 10 years, and she said to me, do you know this man was so excited that he even shared with his friends how good his wife is in bed. I got chills, but I still did not believe or did not want to write the book because I had all kinds of excuses from, oh, you are in your 30s, oh, you are not married, what will they say? It does not matter. I believe in God's timing is the best, because now when I look at it, if I wrote that book back then, there could have been a teeny little bit of immaturity in there. You may ask, what kind of immaturity are you talking about? I could have been talking about the importance of the manhood size and all that, which, by the way, I talk about in my book. I think I have a portion of a chapter when I'm talking about size, and I don't want to give it away because I really want you to get the book. Yeah, but the way I viewed the manhood size back in the day, and maybe the people were speaking in my ear, were so misled and would have changed the trajectory of my book. I am so glad that I waited to write my book and waited for God to mature me in the relationship with Him. Yeah, depending on what an author is writing about, whatever subject one is writing about, they have to be very careful because you are dispatching information to people all over the world. So it's important for us as authors to write things that are solid, things that are good for marriages. If you are writing about sex like I did in my first book, trust me, the second book is not even about sex. It was important for me not to jump and write that book at that time because there was some knowledge that I needed to gain. There was some maturity that needed to happen. I needed to meet Mr. Evans and learn some things just by observing him, the way he does things, as far as the way he loves me and the way he makes love to me. I had to mature, and I thank God that I didn't write the book back then, because right now I'll probably be pulling it down and rewriting it. So what am I saying? It's important for you and your spouse to understand the importance of intimacy, to understand the importance of being honest with one another, to understand the importance of being each other's besties, as they say these days, to understand the importance of deepening your friendship without being, this is to my sisters, without being too familiar with your husband. You never ever want to be too familiar with him, but you have to maintain the respect. While you respect him, you should also deepen that friendship. Actually, the more you respect your your husband, the deeper the intimacy, okay? If you respect him more, you realize that it will be easier for you to submit to him. Yes, it is coming. I'm going to have a whole video talking about submission, okay? So you have to respect him. There cannot be any reason why you should not respect him. Through that respect that you give to your husband, you are going to deepen your intimacy. When you deepen the respect, the honesty, and everything that concerns your marriage, you realize that you have a deeper emotional connection to each other, and hence that will translate to a deeper sexual intimacy. It's like a ladder or a chain. One thing is connected to the next, okay? I hope you found this video helpful. I thought I'll just answer this question about the importance of intimacy in marriage. What role does intimacy play in a marriage? I hope I made it very simple and clear for you to understand. But hey, I have lots of videos here talking about intimacy and sexual intimacy, so you definitely want to make sure that you are subscribed. Don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you don't miss any of my very valuable content. If you enjoyed this video, I am very sure that you are going to enjoy this next video right here. And before I go, let me remind you of my virtual event that's going to be on September 21st, 2024, my very first virtual event for women. I'm going to be talking about the sexual intimacy challenges faced by most women, and the tickets are still affordable, but that early bird special is going to end pretty soon, so make sure that you get your ticket before the price goes up. With that being said, my friend, remember to do small things with great love. From my heart to yours, don't forget to keep it spicy. Adios. God bless you. I love you. I sincerely do. Take care. Bye bye.